the Travelling Tarot Teacher, and this week I'm coming to you from Coral Bay. I'm not going to do the forecast on the beach because it's a little bit windy, it gets a bit challenging from what you can hear, but I just thought I'd show you where I'm staying. The sun's going down, it's just beautiful. Coral Bay is right on the Ningaloo Reef. The Ningaloo Reef just hugs the coast. It's a fringe reef, not the barrier reef. Plenty of wildlife, plenty of fish, tropical fish, turtles, manta rays and so forth. You can just snorkel right off the beach here if you want to. It's just beautiful, really great for the kids, and just having a lovely relaxing time. So anyway, let's get on with the forecast. Okay, time for the forecast. So this is for week commencing the 17th of May 2021. I'm actually filming this in the caravan park where I'm staying at the moment. I couldn't, as you saw, the beach was a little bit windy, so, but there is signs of life around here, so it's around dinner time. Anyway, as usual, guidance from the Mythic Tarot, and I'm going to choose 6 cards and give you some there's a little bit of information about what energy to expect this week. Hope you've all had a good week. I know that last week's forecast was really relevant to me, but I'm really tired at the moment. I can't remember what happened for me. Oh, that's right. Yes, actually, it was going to be like a tough, not a tough week, but a hard work week, or what do you put it, like the effort that you put in is the rewards that you get back, and that was definitely for me. Having said that, I had a lovely week. If you want to have a look on my Instagram, going and doing some snorkeling and challenging myself physically, as you do, and just a really lovely time here at Coral Bay. So let's begin this week's weekly forecast for week commencing May 17th 2021. The first card, as usual, is us and where we're at, and here we are. That was me on the boat this week, so I went and did a bit of snorkeling. But for us, again, I think that was last week also too. We had this card as the first card. That's a continuation of our creative thinking. That means that creative thinking, that creative venture, that open mind, that expansion of ourselves and our awareness right now is actually continuing. So that's not going anywhere. It's going to continue this week. And so let's have a look at what's influencing us this week when it comes to that. Where is our soul directing us? And we have the 7 of Swords. Okay, interesting. So 7 of Swords in this instance represents that part of us that says, you know what, you might have this creative stuff going, but it's not about spreading it out to the whole world. It's actually keeping it a little bit to yourself and a bit of planning. And rather than talking about it, that you you don't internalize it. You don't dilute it by shouting it out to the world. Sometimes by just talking about it a lot, we tend to dilute it and we don't go anywhere with it. Sometimes it's great to share, and sometimes it's not so much. But so that creative venture, or that expansion of the mind that is happening this week is about, and our soul is reminding us just to let it percolate within us and act on it that way, rather than just talking about it and doing nothing about it. Which is really interesting. I really like that. Diluting it by talking about it means that you then lose momentum about acting on it, whereas if you keep it to yourself and work on it within your own soul, within your own mind, and let it unfold that way, allow your mind to expand within itself, it will actually be much more concentrated and have much more richness and flavour, and then you can talk about it. So let's have a look at what fears we're dealing with or facing this week, and we have the King of Cups. That's virtually the talking about it part of things. So there's a lack of confidence when it comes to our creative ventures this week. Internalizing it or not actually talking about it too much can lead to a little bit of, oh, am I doing the right thing? So really it's about finding the right person to talk to. It's not about talking to 10 different people, it's probably talking to 1 or 2, and only people that you trust. And so really this week is about finding the people that you trust when it comes to sharing your experience. So this is actually now saying, rather than just telling nobody, it's about finding the people that you trust to discuss it with and share it with, just to get some feedback. It's not about, as I said, diluting it by telling 10 people is not going to help the process for you this week. Very interesting. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at our response, our reaction to these cards, or this energy. Knight of Cups. Great. So the Knight of Cups represents that element of dreaming, of visualizing, of turning it into something. It's like you turn it into a dream. You can imagine it, you can let it expand and let it just wander off and become something even amazingly wonderful. You may not be able to see yourself put it into planning, and if you try to put it into planning this week and actually put it into action, it's not going to come to anything because the Knight of Cups is in play. So the Knight of Cups will allow us to dream, to visualize it, and let us take it off into another dimension. But it's not going to let us actually ground it and put it into action right now. And that is why talking about it is actually going to like scuttle the idea and scuttle the creativity. And so internalizing, just talking to people that you can trust, and maybe even just writing it down, not spreading it out too much. That tells me that a lot of this creativity that we're experiencing at the moment is still in its infancy and needs to be imagined and dreamt about and expanded in our minds, and let it just go all sorts of different directions until we can actually land on where it is that we want to go. Okay, so let's have a look at our future, the possible future. Oh, here we go, and that's the reason. So what that tells me is that when we start putting those things into action and putting them into place, we are going to actually work out the bugs. When it does actually happen, this card is telling us that we'll be working the bugs out of that creative idea. That's why it's required that we just dream about it, expand it that way, let our mind sort of wander and daydream about it. Putting it into action, just like I said before, a lot of hiccups, a lot of trying to, it won't be quite grounded enough. If we, like when we talk about things too much, when we dilute the idea, when we put it into action and it doesn't go anywhere, we can defeat ourselves simply because it's like, well, I tried it, I can't do this anymore. But when we allow it to just wash over us, when we allow ourselves to dream about it, when we just internalize it a little bit and let ourselves work out what works for us, when we do put things into action and little things do go wrong, it's not going to be as self-defeating. We're going to be a little bit, oh, is this the right way to go? But we will certainly have the capacity and the energy within us to push past those little defeats. We won't feel so overwhelmed by it all. Okay, so let's have a look at the spiritual meaning. Ooh, the spiritual meaning is about going within. It's about taking time out. So the spiritual meaning is telling us this week that meditation and contemplation, quiet time, going within, is going to give us the best results. Diluting our ideas, not letting our ideas follow a particular path and not allowing ourselves to daydream will scuttle everything. So we're learning the value of just letting that wash over us and letting it unfold in our mind, letting our imagination run with it, rather than trying to be busy. Of that spiritual sort of self and that spiritual part of us, the busyness can actually defeat us. Whereas allowing ourselves to go in and allowing our mind to be creative and wander really brings oftentimes results that we hadn't thought of, and intuition and insights that we hadn't thought of before. Okay, so I actually pulled the 7th card inadvertently. I didn't realise it until the end, so I just had a quick look at it, and so I'm going to share that with you. Ace of Wands. So I'm going to use that as an overall reminder that this week is about launching our creative ideas. It's about launching ourselves. The cards within the weekly forecast this week are all about allowing ourselves to let those ideas wash over within us. It's not about diluting it by sharing it with lots of people and having like sharing it with 10 people and have 10 lots of feedback. It'll just confuse us. So the Knight of Cups allows us to daydream. The 7 of Swords allows us to just internalize it without having to feel that we have to tell all those people. The King of Cups reminds us that we are finding the right supportive and helpful people to guide us through this week. And the Ace of Wands is there to remind us that this is a beginning, a launching point. It is not the be all and end all. It is the beginning and launch. So, of a wonderful creative venture. I love it. It's like a creative path that we're heading down. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. With love from me to